What's up, Pachero fan? It's a great day. The Las Vegas project continues, and last night I went to Excess, and tonight I'm going to Intrigue, which is the perfect 1-2 punch because both Excess and Intrigue are basically the two main nightclubs in the Wynn and Encore complex. And it's kind of cool because obviously last night, going to Excess, I've been there before. And I mentioned that in the Excess video that it was kind of good going back just to kind of get a reminder of what it's like, get obviously all the footage, and obviously really try to figure out how am I going to produce a song for Excess. However, I've never been to Intrigue. Heard really, really good things. Obviously the club's pretty new, so a lot of state-of-the-art production, setups, and lights and lasers, and everything you want in a really, really good nightclub. So I'm very curious to check it out. I've heard amazing things, like I said, but I've never been there. So this is going to be a great time, a great experience, and I feel like any time there's a day club or a nightclub in the Wynn and Encore complex, you know it's going to be insane.
We go hard all night, night. We go hard all day, day. Nothing gets in our way. Wait. We go hard all night, night. We go hard all day, day. Nothing gets in our way. Wait. We go hard all night, night. We go hard all day, day. Nothing gets in our way. Wait. We go hard all night, night. We go hard all day, day. Nothing gets in our way. Wait. We go hard all night, night. 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 Go hard on, go hard on, go hard on, go hard on. Let's get it. Let's get it. We go hard all night, night. We go hard all day, day. Nothing gets in our way. Wait. We go hard all night, night. We go hard all day, day. Nothing gets in our way. Wait. We go hard all night, night. We go hard all day, day. Nothing gets in our way. Wait. We go hard all night, night. We go hard all day, day. Nothing gets in our way. We go hard all night, night. We go hard all day, day. Nothing gets in our way. Wait. We go hard all night, night. We go hard all day, day. Nothing gets in our way. Wait. We go hard all night. We go hard all night. We go hard all night. We go hard all night.
Intrigue was insane. Now, Excess, I mentioned, was one of the coolest layouts for any nightclub in Vegas, Intrigue, right up there. So when you first walk in, the main area basically of the nightclub is a lot smaller, I found, than most other nightclubs, right? Especially some of the walkways and areas to move around were a lot more tightly packed. So it's a lot more chaotic, a lot more hectic, a lot more crazy. Then when you go outside, there's a lake with three basically water fountains or basically machines shooting up the water. And I think they mix it with oil or some type of liquid. So there's flaming water fountains, three of them in the middle of this lake. And then also when you turn and pan, you see basically this huge waterfall with all this nature. And also they have different lights and lasers outside as well that kind of shoot onto the waterfall. So it's kind of cool when you go outside, especially. Everything, especially with all the glass, everything is obviously clear. So when you're standing at the lake, you can turn and see the waterfall here with all the lights and lasers shooting on it, but then you can pan and see the nightclub and see straight into it, see straight into the DJ booth and everything, because obviously, you know, it's all glass and everything, so you can see everything that's kind of going on inside of it. It was a really, really cool setup, because obviously it really had, you know, and I said this before with Access, it did have something for everybody where, you know, you could go inside, it's super chaotic, super crazy inside, and then outdoors also a lot more show, you know? One really cool thing I saw about Intrigue that I had not seen at any other nightclub, I think maybe ever, I was really thinking about this, was that typically for most nightclubs, if you think about the person controlling the lights and the lasers, it's obviously usually someone behind, you know, usually with the mixing engineer and everything, behind the scenes, kind of controlling the lights and lasers and all kind of the crazy effects, the fog and whatnot. And typically, in most nightclubs, it's something where every other area is kind of its own lighting, but then right at the stage or right at the main kind of dance floor area, all the lights and lasers are all synced up with the music. The cool thing about Intrigue was that it was the entire club was synced up, meaning that when let's say there was like a lull in, you know, let's say the DJ mix, and then it built up and dropped, every light in the entire nightclub, not just at the dance floor, but every night in the entire nightclub would kind of shut down, slowly build up, and then drop. So it was really cool to see that almost instead of just the dance floor area being synced up with the music, which is typically what happens in most nightclubs, literally the entire complex was synced up with the music, and basically they worked together, so that way, when something would happen, whether it be a lull or whatever, all the lights in the entire nightclub would kind of dim down and then build back up, which I thought was really cool. And I haven't really seen that in the way that Intrigue did it. I haven't really seen that in any other nightclub where it was that incredibly synced up. Even by the booths that, like, say, people bought tables far away from the dance floor would still be synced up with everything else going on, which typically doesn't happen. So I thought that was super cool. Now, when it comes to the song I'm producing about Intrigue, similar to Access, it was very difficult, especially in the beginning. I was like, I don't know. And this, it's one of those things when, you know, coming up with the vibe and the genre of the track, it's always difficult. And a lot of people have asked me, like, hey, Mark, you know, how do you come up with the genre vibe? And honestly, it's just kind of like a feeling. It's not like I go there and have a specific, you know, checklist that kind of portrays to one genre or another. But typically what I try to do is stay there for a while and really just get a vibe. I think the people, the DJ sometimes can have an effect. Obviously the layout of the club really has an effect too. At first, I got a very big tech house vibe. And then I was like, no, definitely not tech house after the night went on. Then I got a deep house vibe, which I still feel a little bit. But then as the night went on, I'm like, you know what? I actually feel it's more of a G house vibe blended with trap. So obviously G house, if you don't know, is almost a blend, and I'm wording it very loosely here, of hip hop and house. You know, there's a lot of great G house artists, like Bijou's one, Destructo is obviously another good one, and these are great G house artists. They kind of blend hip hop elements and vibes with house, and I feel like G house was a good kind of fit for the club. So I think the way the track is going to come out is going to have a lot of elements of trap, because I got a very big trap vibe too, but also a lot of G house, and there's some kind of crossover elements with trap and G house. So what I'm going to do, I think, is produce this track in such a way that has a lot of G house percussion style rhythms with some deep house synth design, along with maybe a trap bass, maybe 808 style low end. So it's kind of capturing all these vibes of hip hop, a lot of the house and G house vibes, and then also having the hard hitting feel of a trap record.